we can speak about digital workforce transformation. So there are the bots, but there are also human resources, and we can't forget them because they are the fundamental of a business. And I think that, yes, machines will gradually become more powerful and useful, but actually also humans will be essential because technology, as I said before, is not a replacement for humans, but is an integrator.
We have the pleasure of welcoming Linda Grasso to our interview series. I'm Aishwarya Sankhe from the Engati team. Let's begin with a quick introduction of Engati. Engati is the world's leading no-code chatbot platform available across 14 channels with 25,000 bots, created across 186 countries in every domain and use case. We run the Engati blog and video channel, which receives upwards of 300,000 visitors annually. And now for our guest. Linda Grasso is the Chief Operating Officer at Digital Business Innovation, an Italian innovation startup active in the world of R&D consulting. Linda strongly believes in empowering women in tech. She's an experienced management engineer in the world of digital transformation. She has always been passionate about this innovation phenomenon and started by pursuing a career that combines emerging technologies and engineering doctrine. Welcome, Linda. We're thrilled to have you.
Well, thank you, Aishwarya. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure.
That's great. So I'll start off with my first question. How is innovation changing the business scenario, and how crucial is it for businesses to adapt?
Oh, well, yes, we are nowadays living in an ever-evolving world. So businesses have to face some kind of change that we call digital change. And as you said, innovation is very important. But actually, I would like to highlight that there are 4 paths for digital change. The first one, as you said, is innovation. And actually, innovation has several definitions, but I would like to focus on the one that is the process of creating the same things, but better. So it means that with innovation, you create same things. The purpose is the same, but with different tools, innovative tools. So you can do it better. Then we have the second one, that is digitization. And what is the definition of digitization? It's the process of converting analog information into a digital format. So it means that with digitization, we have the opportunity to do a shift from analog to digital. Then we have the third one, the third path, that is digitalization. That is the process of using digital technologies to change business models. So it means that thanks to the infusion of digital technologies, we can change and improve business models. So for example, through new processes, new products, and so optimize business performances. And then we have the fourth, that is the last but not the least, that is digital transformation. And what is digital transformation? It's something that revolutionizes everything. It's a paradigm shift. I like to call it a journey, a business journey of an organizational change that involves every aspect of the business. And I think that it has to be planned with a strategy. So it has to be strategically planned in order to be relevant, to dominate in a competitive marketplace, because nowadays we have a really competitive marketplace. Mm-hmm. So through the digital transformation, we have to leverage disruptive technologies and gain value, of course. And digital technologies, disruptive technologies are very important because, we always talk about lots of technologies during these times. So for example, we have artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, big data. There are so many things that are really important. And so businesses have to adopt these disruptive technologies if they want to thrive and if they want to survive in this digitally transforming world, where I think that innovation is very crucial, but it's crucial also to adopting an open mind strategy.
Mm-hmm. It's so important. I agree with you on all of those aspects. I remember reading something about digitization, and I find it
Yes.
like a fascinating concept, especially with our current era. So thank you. That was very interesting.
Yeah.
So, what role are conversational agents playing in changing the customer support scenario?
Well, okay. We are speaking about disruptive technologies. And in this case, what comes to my mind is artificial intelligence when we talk about conversational agents, right? So, well, artificial intelligence, I think, is really improving customer support scenario because it has a lot of potential. It could bring great benefits to businesses. So, what are conversational agents? Are something that gives the possibility to interface human business, but I think in a smarter way. So, conversational agents try to understand what is the input of the customer and what he wants to know, and through the natural language processing, he can, it can actually because it's not a human, can understand through algorithms and programming what the customer wants, and then gives the output back. So the answer that the customer wants. But I think that artificial intelligence is moving forward because it's not more deterministic, reactive. For example, if this, then that. So there is a question and you have the answer. In this case, you have just a limited dialogue, few kind of dialogues. Well, artificial intelligence is moving forward. So it's creating something that we can call much probabilistic and reactive also, because it's not just the question, the answer. It's also making some kind of suggestions that can be useful for the customer.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that conversational agents can bring benefits and can give business the opportunity of managing the customer support better, in a better way, of course, but also give other benefits because business automation can also optimize human resources, because if human resources are not asked to do the task that bot can do, then they can be reallocated in other activities, and so can also let the business be more productive and have cost savings and also time savings. So I think this is a great advantage.
Mm-hmm. It's funny that we refer to it as a she or a he in terms of artificial intelligence, because sometimes like I think a lot of people forget that they're humans. Like, for example, I have a little cousin and she thinks Alexa is a human sometimes. So she's conversing with Alexa. It's really adorable actually. So what are your thoughts on the broad level concept of the future of work?
Oh, well, I think that the future of work has a lot of good perspectives. So, I mean, we of course will have to leverage the power of bots and of technology because they are important, and I think they will be in the future of work. But we don't have to forget about the human resources that are always at the base. So I think that technology is not a replacement for humans, but I think that is just an integrator because humans have some skills that bots, of course, cannot have. For example, let's think about problem solving, reasoning. This is a skill that has nothing to do with automation. So I think that we should focus on the integration of both things, human resources through the reskilling also, because there are also new skills in the future of work. But we have also to integrate bots because they can be useful and they can do something in a faster way, faster than human can, and so give other opportunities to business to implement their performances.
Right. So what are the key tenets and technologies that will drive this adoption, you think?
Oh, well, artificial intelligence, because I think that we always talk about this kind of technologies, artificial intelligence. We talk about Internet of Things, machine learning. And so I think that it's not just a piece of this puzzle, but we need different pieces. in order to achieve the real digital shift, the digital change in the future of workplace. But I think really the automation, the components of the smart algorithms are the key to go far beyond, you know.
Mhm. Does innovation backed by technology guarantee sustainability though? Like what other things should businesses also focus on?
Sure. I think that businesses are going to face this digital change, but the digital change should not only focus on digital transformation and adopting technologies in order to gain more profit. You know,
Mhm.
I think they should focus also on sustainability because it is a fundamental topic.
Mhm.
More, I think that there should be a synergy between digital transformation and sustainability
Mhm.
in businesses. And actually, I think that businesses should care about how to build a sustainable future, not only a digital future because that's easy, but we should also focus on sustainability. There are, for example, the Sustainable Development Goals of United Nations that I really care about because I think they are really important for our future. And I think that businesses should focus on two of them. In particular, all of them are super important, I know, but there are two of them that I really think are the key for businesses if they want also to raise their ethical responsibility. The first one, that is the social approach. I mean, inclusion, because we cannot talk about progress if someone is left behind. We have to do the progress uh, step by step, but all together. So we have to guarantee everyone the right knowledge, the right education, and the equal access to key resources, for example, the internet, because we can we can talk about some countries in the world that still don't have access to this kind of resources that for us are, I mean, they are daily, are the basis, but unfortunately for them it's not like that. And so businesses can't forget of
Right.
them. They cannot, absolutely. And the second topic that I think is very important is the environmental approach, because we are living in a world where the problem of global warming is becoming more and more looming in today's world. So we should focus on the energy transition. It means that we have to adopt other kinds of energies, not only fossil fuels, in order to reduce the emissions of CO2 in the atmosphere and reduce the climate change that is a really important problem today. So I think that businesses should only focus on also focus, sorry, on what are some other kinds of energy forms, for example,
Mhm.
renewables such as solar energy, wind energy, and so on, that can really have the ability to save our planet.
What you said about energy is so important, especially
Well,
finding because global warming is such a big topic right now. I agree with you
yeah,
100%. And
absolutely.
about the inclusivity in workplaces, people often forget that the internet is almost a necessity now. It's not just a luxury. So
Absolutely. Completely
mhm.
agree. Yeah.
That you strongly believe in empowering women in tech. So how do you think companies should go about doing that?
Oh, well, this is another important topic because there is also the sustainable development goal, the number 5, that is gender equality. And I really care about also about this because, actually we don't have a fair workplace. It is facts, it's not words. We have a man-dominated field, workplace, that it's sad to think that women are underrepresented, especially when it comes to STEM field, because I think that women have great potential. And I'm not saying this because I am a woman, you are women, and so we have this pink power during this interview, but because I think that it's true. It's not a matter of gender, it's a matter of skills. And both women and men have the right skills. They are complementary. And so it should be important to convey these skills, to combine these skills in order to try together, because I think that businesses can really harness these two kind of genders in order to have a much powerful, perspective in the future.
I agree with you 100%. Especially, I like how you mentioned that it's complementary. Oftentimes, I feel like a lot of people are comparing, but it's not a matter of comparison. It's a matter of complementing each other.
Absolutely.
I 100% agree with you on that.
Yeah, because I think that we may have different skills, so maybe women have some skills, men have some other skills. So I think that we should not see as separated, but we should see them as integrated, as a synergy.
At the end of the day, I think people should see how you can use both of these skills in harmony to leverage things.
Absolutely. Yes, harmony. That's correct word, yeah.
So how can startups and small businesses leverage AI and technology in your eyes?
Oh, well, we are living in a field where there are two kind of organizations. As you said, there are startups, small businesses, SMEs, and there are also corporations, and they are really different. And different is also the way they can compare to each other and face the change. Because when we talk about corporations, we usually talk about a big company, very big company that is based in different countries all around the world with thousands of employees. And these are pros because, there is an establishment in the marketplace. There are so many human resources. There are also economic resources. And so this makes this kind of organization more powerful. But on the other hand, we have that in this kind of corporations, there are multiple levels. There is an organization structure that is very complex. So there are different departments. There are different kinds of things to manage. And so in this case, if we want to have a digital shift, a digital change, I think it is a little bit more complex because, you have to work with a change management. You have to change everything of the organization. And so I think the shift, of course, is possible because we are seeing in some of these big corporations, but I think it's complex. On the contrary, when we talk about startups and SMEs, well, of course, there are some cons because we usually talk about small companies with few employees. So there is sometimes lack of human resources, but especially economic resources because most of startups are looking for funding for investors. And so I think these are some cons because sometimes they are new in the market, so are not very established. But the pro that I think is very important in this case is that they have an agile organization because they have the ability to change in an easier way if, of course, they have the right basis. Because, for the change to have a digital change and so to leverage also emerging technologies, you need to have different skills. You need to have, of course, right ideas, the right project, but you have to do also a good job with funding. So you have to have the investors or monies from other kind of sources that are the basis to start, but it's fundamental also the right mentor, because the mentor can give you the right strategy in order to thrive and to become established in the new market. And I think, for example, in our company, we are managing lots of projects for startups and also small companies that have really great ideas. And I think they are leveraging in a smart way these technologies because there are some some interesting projects in different fields. For example, the health tech for medical diagnosis, building engineering through some kind of algorithms really interesting, or into tech. So I think they are moving in the right way for having to make the shift happen, the real shift happen.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I appreciate you mentioning the mentor. I think people forget about the human to human connection and how that can help you essentially.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. I feel like most businesses right now don't really have a choice. Like they have to shift into digital and cloud, especially in this current scenario. So, do you have any suggestions to help them make this transformation besides the mentor? Um, do you think bots will play a major role in this?
Oh, well, yes. Of course, as you said, the digital shift is a challenge. It's a challenge for all the businesses. And sometimes they have no choice if they want to survive in this marketplace of the future.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, of course, they need technologies, because technologies are a key topic, a key aspect for businesses. But they have to also have a good strategy, as I said before, and as you said, for the mentorship, because sometimes, the brainstorming, talking with other human interaction is precious, because it makes some ideas to it can bring really some ideas into reality, and so give the right start for a business. And I think that is also a question of culture. So having an open mind strategy that is going to innovate business. So what about your question, bots? Yes, bots I think will be very important, because, as I said before, will help companies to turn their vision into reality, their digital vision into reality. But I think that is not the only aspect, because we were thinking about human resources. So we can speak about digital workforce transformation. So there are the bots, but there are also human resources, and we can't forget them, because they are the fundamental of a business. And I think that, yes, machines will gradually become more powerful and useful, but actually also humans will be essential, because technology, as I said before, is not a replacement for humans, but is an integrator. So if we, for example, think about a problem, it's true that sometimes artificial intelligence bots can solve some problems that humans could solve in other times. So they can solve it quickly. But we have also to think about some problems that are not well defined. So in this case, there is one skill that humans have, but bots don't, that is reasoning, the problem solving, the definition of a problem and the way to solve it in a smarter path, in a smarter way. So I think that sometimes human skills like this are the added value for a business that automation cannot offer. So I think both of them are important if a business wants to adopt this digital shift, this digital change.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about empathy? Because bots don't have that capability. So, what do you think about that?
Absolutely. That's why I think that we should focus not only on bots, because, sometimes people think, some businesses can think, well, there is this bot that is going to do this activity. So maybe I can reallocate humans that before did that activity on other things. But actually, I think that you can do like that, because the bot can do some activities, but cannot go far beyond. So beyond, you need always to have a human that can go farther and solve problems that bot cannot. So I think that they can, of course, implement performances of businesses, because as I said, they can do it faster, they can do it quickly, and can also implement interaction between customers. But humans, well, of course, humans have to always manage what is behind it all, because we cannot think about a business that is composed only of bots. It won't never exist, of course, or I hope, because the future has so many surprises, but I don't think.
That would be pretty awesome. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think right now it's either it's a them versus us mentality, where it's technology versus human. But again, it should be more harmonious, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So, do you have any other thoughts you'd like to leave our viewers with?
Oh well, any other thoughts? You before you mentioned the thing that I really care about, and I already talked about, that is women empowerment, gender equality, and there is something that I really like to highlight also on my social channels. For example, Twitter. In my small way, I hope that I can give some suggestions for women, because there are so many ambitious women with lots of potential that maybe sometimes decide to give up just because they have been victims of discrimination, bias, and they maybe can decide to abandon the workplace, especially when it comes to STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. But I think it shouldn't be so, because we need more women in the workplace. Because, for example, I read that the World Economic Forum suggests that it will take to 200 years to achieve the workplace gender equality. And
Oh my God.
I mean, that's really, it's too much, because not to be pessimistic, but for example, me and you, I think we'll never see this moment. So that's sad. I think that's sad, because as I said before, we could combine in a harmonious way the skills of men and women, because in this way we could reach also a fairer and also more sustainable future in the workplace. Also, if we think, for example, about the gender pay gap. Gender pay gap is another serious problem, because sometimes you have women and men that do the same work, the same time, but women are paid less. They have a lower wage. And this happens in many countries all around the world. And this is something that I think should change, because actually we have the same potential. And I think this is really an opportunity we are losing. Businesses are losing, because we could gain more value through the synergy of both women and men. So my goal, that I try in my small way to do, is just to empowering women in this field, in tech, to never give up and follow their ambition, because I think that if you believe in yourself, you can do anything. And so I hope that it will be like that.
That's a lovely note to end on. I agree with you. It's pretty, that figure that you mentioned is pretty upsetting to hear as a woman myself. So
Yeah.
I think organizations right now are doing a better job in making the environment less hostile. And so I'm really glad we're making progress, but it doesn't feel like it's enough, I feel.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. We are doing progresses, especially in some countries, because not every country moves at the same time. But I think that we are doing progresses, and that's true. But as you said, it's still not enough, because we have to do more, and we have to move forward in order to build a future of work that works also for women.
Yes.
So it works for both of us.
I agree. So that was my final question. It was lovely talking to you. And you've given me so much inspiration, especially talking about women in work. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on this episode, and we'll see you guys very soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Join us
It
for
was a
another
pleasure.
episode of Engati Engages coming soon.